So you want to make a corset? That's awesome because I can help you. You want to wear a corset? I can also help you. You just want to learn about corsets? You're still in the right place. Hi everyone, I'm Viktoria and welcome to Corsets 101, Getting Started. Today we will talk about corsets, where they came from, what to think about when considering your own corset, and how to get started. If you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything I post here. This video is a part of COVID because Costume College was canceled this year due to current events, as you may imagine. The COSTube community is putting on an event all weekend which features videos, live panels, events, a badge collection game, which, by the way, if you want a badge for watching this video, make sure you stick around for the code. Today is Sunday, the last day of COVID. There are still plenty of videos coming out, events still happening, and many of the videos will be available to watch later as well. I will put a link in the description so that you can go check out all the fun stuff COVID has to offer, including all those videos and panels, social events on Instagram, and that badge collection. Alright, so let's get into corsets. First of all, I want to start with a little overview on corsets and how they came to be. Throughout history, people have always liked to be fashionable and found ways to make their clothes fit and look amazing. There's an important fashion change to note as we move from the early to late Middle Ages. In the earlier periods, clothing tended more frequently to be made as a shape that suited the body. As we move forward in time through and past the later Middle Ages, we start to see clothing shape the body. And that is a very important change to note for corsets. If you look at portraits from the Renaissance and any time later, you'll see silhouettes where you have a lot of undergarments building out the silhouette of the garment. It's not just the person's body creating that silhouette. So things like hoop skirts, bustles, hip pads, all that kind of stuff helps to create a silhouette. What we now call a corset is a boned bodice which is separate from the actual garment, and at least throughout history was worn underneath the garment, though now we wear them outside. The first garment that really is what we now call a corset is actually a pair of bodies from the 16th century. During this period, women were looking to get a conical silhouette in their dresses, so the pair of bodies was a boned bodice, typically with reed, and that created that conical silhouette, and then the dress can sit on top of that and be that shape instead of your body shape. As we move into the 17th and 18th centuries, we start to see garments that were called stays, and once again, we have a boned bodice separate from the actual dress bodice. It is a foundation garment giving us a shape. And still we have a conical silhouette, though there are some changes obviously over time. Fashion will evolve. The term corset started in the late 18th century, so most of the time when you think of historical costuming, a corset is going to be something hourglass like we see today, because that's where the style was going as we moved into the 19th century. And in fact, most of the modern and fantasy corsets we're used to are based on that 19th century hourglass Victorian silhouette. We do sometimes see longer line corsets which are based a little more on the late Victorian and Edwardian and even later silhouettes, where the corsets tended to go further down onto the hips. Over time, corsets and pre-corsets, if you will, went from conical to hourglass, and now modern fantasy. Throughout history, there was a lot of whalebone used in corsets. We no longer use whalebone. There is a synthetic whalebone made of plastic now. For most modern corsets, you're going to see steel, spiral steel, and flat steel used as boning. If you want to get into corsets, whether you are making or wearing them, you probably want to start with what corset is right for you. There are a few things to remember here. One thing is that good quality is an investment. So if you want a long-lasting corset that's going to be with you for a long time, it's going to cost a little bit more than a cheaply made one. And that's totally fine because you should get a lot more use out of it. Typically these days we'll see overbust corsets, underbust corsets, and any type of creative variation. We may still see the conical silhouette in modern fantasy corsets, which is more inspired by those older pre-corsets. There are infinite design options for corsets, but the first thing to think about is probably the silhouette. So do you want to be hourglass shaped? Do you want to be conical? Does this have a purpose? Are you doing a historical reenactment and you need it to be as accurate to a period as possible? Is it totally fantasy? Is it for a cosplay? Is it something you want to wear every day? These are all things to think about. And all of that will influence what design you go with and also what price your corset is going to be. There are a lot of off-the-rack corsets and they tend not to fit as well as a corset custom made for you. So I always recommend to go with that. And this video will prepare you to start out on your corset making journey. I am actually launching a corset making course, so if you want to make a corset with me right there to help you, stick around till the end and I'll tell you all about that. When it comes to wearing your corset, the most important thing is the fit of the corset. One misconception is that putting more boning in it will make it better, but that is not necessarily the case. Some corsets do require more boning for the structures, but the fit of the actual garment is the most important thing. You want your corset to cinch you comfortably, so it's very important that it fits your body. A corset based on this hourglass silhouette is the most popular. This corset will cinch you at the waist. It could cinch you just a little bit. It could even not really cinch you, or it could cinch you very tightly, and some people even do tight lacing to train their waist to be a little bit smaller. A properly fitted corset is comfortable. You can move in it. You can function in it. You can actually go about your daily activities. I mean, women wore these all day long throughout history. There is a myth out there that corsets are uncomfortable and you can't breathe in them. The truth is that if it's not made to fit you, that's entirely possible. But if it fits you properly, you should be comfortable and you should be able to function. Many cheap corsets that are not fitted to you or possibly not even made to be the right shape for your body at all can be rather uncomfortable. And you want to be careful with low-cost, mass-produced corsets. These are not made for you. These are made to fit a standard fit model, so they're not going to fit everybody. And in fact, some of these websites have stolen photos. In fact, a lot of my dress designs, including corsets, have been stolen by other websites, Chinese websites, who are very obviously not selling my corsets for a price that costs less than the fabric to make them. However, if you invest in a very nice corset, or if you're making it for yourself, you invest in the nice materials to make the corset, and you invest in the time to learn to make a great corset, then it is really going to pay off in the end and you're going to have an amazing garment. So let's get into some of the materials we need to make a corset. The main fabric for corsets is typically coutil, but you don't need to invest in coutil, especially if you're starting out. Just a cotton duck canvas will work totally fine. You can even use twill. You just want to be careful with twill being your main supportive layer. Because of the grain of the fabric, you'll want to alternate the way the fibers are. So typically 2 layers, you know, one going this way, one the other way. I do sometimes use twill along with a canvas, and then you don't really have to worry about that because the canvas will handle the main durability. Most corsets use some kind of fashion fabric, like there's a satin one here. This one was a weird gold faux leather and it's got all kinds of embellishments on it. These fabrics are on top of the foundation fabric, so underneath is the canvas or coutil, and that is what gives the corset its really strong structure. The boning I use is a mixture of flat and spiral steel. The flat steels are really good for anything that you need to be super rigid, like for example the back of the corset around the lacing. The spirals will not only flex this way, but also side to side. And for that reason, they're really good throughout the body of the corset, anywhere that you need some flexibility along the side seams and so on. Spirals are really good for the bulk of a Victorian shaped corset. Obviously, if your corset is more conical, you don't want that sideways give, so you're gonna stick more with the flat style. Some corsets feature a busk. It has hooks on one side and these little tabs on the other side, and it just hooks right together, and we put that in the front of the corset. We also use grommets for the lacing holes, and I use these ones that have the grommet that goes through the hole and then a washer on the back. Those are very sturdy. So let's get into making corsets. The first thing to remember when making corsets is that it is as difficult as you make it. Is corsetry a specialized skill set? Yes, friend, yes it is. Can anyone learn to do it? I believe so. So the first step is actually breaking past a mental barrier and just getting started. Just like with anything, you kind of just need to start doing it, and then you'll figure out where your easy parts are and where your more challenging parts are that you need to work through. I do recommend corsetry for people who already know how to sew, because you're going to need to be doing a lot of seams that are straight and maybe even a little bit finicky. There's a lot of lining up fabric layers and making sure that things sit properly. So I really do recommend that you have a basic to intermediate knowledge of sewing getting into corsetry. When it comes to patterns, there is a big question whether to draft your pattern or to buy one. Drafting a pattern is obviously going to take more time, and it can make it fit you better in the end. If you're just getting started, I see no problem with you using an existing pattern. There are so many good ones out there, and in fact you can adjust the patterns a little bit to fit you. So you can customize your fit without starting from nothing. You can start from a pattern. A couple of the tried and true corset pattern companies include Truly Victorian and Laughing Moon. Additionally, Red Threaded sells some historical corset patterns as well. There are also corset patterns available from the big name pattern companies like McCall's and Simplicity, and you can try those out too. There's no one right corset pattern, it just kind of depends which one fits you well and which one creates the silhouette you're going for. And that's why being able to fit an existing pattern is very powerful, because you can buy any pattern you like and adjust it. For that reason, it is very important to make a mock-up and then test your fit of your mock-up. So typically you would make your mock-up in the canvas or coutil, but I recommend using canvas instead of your expensive coutil for a mock-up, just my opinion. You'll need to put boning and grommets in there so you can lace up your corset mock-up and then see where you need to adjust anything in the fit. When you want to get started in corsetry, remember we're going to make it as easy as we can, because we get to decide how hard it is. And remember, you want to try to look for the easiest way to do it, because you want to learn the corsetry skills first and then build upon them. You don't need to go for overly complex or elaborate, you just need to get it done and get a corset made. And then you can always turn those skills into more elaborate corsets later. Remember, if you pick a simple corset design, it's easier to get it done. If you're concerned with fit, I would say an underbust corset is probably easier to fit because you don't have the bust region. However, I do think it's totally fine to fit the bust region on your first corset. You just have to go through the fitting. An underbust corset also may be a little bit more forgiving if you change size over time and so on, because it doesn't deal with as much of your body ratio. You can do a few things to make your corset more forgiving in general, no matter what shape or silhouette it is. For example, there's no set standard on how big the lacing gap needs to be. At times, I've worn corsets totally closed and then the same corset with a gap. It's totally fine, and that kind of thing will make your corset a little bit adjustable, especially if it was fit to you anyway. I also want to talk to you about a couple of care tips for your corset. So you spend all this time making a corset, maybe you bought one, and you've invested a lot of love into this garment, so you want it to last a long time. First tip is to not put it directly against your skin. Throughout history, women wore chemises or shifts or shirts many names, but basically a shirt that goes under the corset, and that's what absorbs your skin oils, not the corset. When I wear a modern or fantasy corset, I typically just put a tank top underneath, and if I don't want the straps to show, I just take them off over my arm and tuck them down inside. You can obviously also wear a tube top that doesn't have any straps. It is very important that you do not just throw your corset in the washing machine. Remember, this is a specialty garment that has steel in it, and it does not go in the washing machine. In fact, you want to wash your corset as little as possible. An old theater trick I know is to use an alcohol-based spray. So I typically actually just use vodka because it's so cheap. I mean, obviously a cheap one. And mix that with water to dilute it, usually about 50-50. And then spray it. The alcohol found in vodka is ethanol. That compound will actually kill bacteria, which in turn provides a lot of the smell that can get into our clothes over time. So if you just kind of mist your corsets with this spray after you wear them, it will cut down a lot on the need to wash it. If you spill something on your corset, you can always spot clean that. The advice on spot cleaning is the old chemistry mantra. By the way, I'm a chemist. The chemistry mantra, like dissolves like. So if you have a water-based stain, you want a water-based solvent to get it out. If you have an oil-based stain, you want an oil-based solvent, like maybe a dish soap, to get it out. When you do need to wash your corset, you want to do it very carefully and by hand. Remember, this is a very precious and treasured garment, and you want to keep it pristine. So friends, are you ready to make your own corset? Because I'm here to help you. In fact, I am launching my very first online corset making class. I have taught corset making classes in person before with great success for my students. So now I am bringing it online to all of you. In this course, we are going to go in depth in the corset making process. We will be working from a standard pattern, and we will be adjusting that pattern to fit us perfectly. In this course, I will take you through 6 weeks of instruction from me on how to make your corset. We will go from the pattern and measuring yourself through all the construction process, fitting your mock-up, and finally putting together your finished corset. For this particular course, I will be offering materials shipped to you. I am limiting the shipping of materials to US-based friends only due to the circumstances that are going on right now with shipping times. However, if you are international, you will be able to sign up for the course and still make a corset with us. You'll just be responsible for your own materials. And if you're in the US, that's an option for you as well. You'll just be responsible for getting all of your materials on time. Bonus to you friends who are here during CocoVid watching this video, I do have a discount code for my course, and I will put that in the description. I hope you've enjoyed learning about corsets with me, and I hope you've enjoyed CocoVid. And if you're just finding out about it, go to all those links in the description and go enjoy everything that's happening. Please like and leave a comment on this video. Let me know what kind of corsets you're looking to make and what you love about corsets. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything else I post here. You can find me on the social medias as Daisy Viktoria, and you can find my website at daisyviktoria.com. You can also become a patron to help support videos like this and others, as well as get some extra tips and tricks. Now, CocoVid buddies who want your badges, this is for you. Scan the QR code with your badge wallet app, or you can enter the text-based code. Thank you so much for joining me to start learning about corsetry, and I hope you all have a magical day. Bye-bye!